Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gogopinath Sai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Mayapur Dhama ki jai. Jamuna Maya ki jai. Ganga Maya ki jai. Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yogya ki jai. Brihat Mridanga Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Transcendental Krishna Prasadam Distribution ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jayada Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare Gopimanandi Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We're reading Chaitanya Charitamrita today. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We're reading from Madhya chapter 8, talks between the Lord and Ramananda Roy. So I'll go back a couple of verses. We're actually on text 159, but just to reiterate, I will start with text number 156. So we get the flow of what's happening here. Lord Chaitanya is discussing Krishna consciousness with Ramananda Roy, and they're gradually coming to the ultimate conclusion of devotional service and the highest realizations in devotional service. So I'll read, this is text 156, translation. My dear Lord, you are the transcendental reservoir of all transcendental qualities. Your pleasure potency, existence potency, and knowledge potency are actually all one spiritual internal potency. The conditioned soul, although actually spiritual, experiences sometimes pleasure, sometimes pain, and sometimes a mixture of pain and pleasure. This is due to his being touched by matter. However, because you are above all material qualities, these are not found in you. Your spiritual potency is completely transcendental, and for you there is no such thing as relative pleasure, pleasure mixed with pain, or pain itself. This is a quotation from the Vishnu Purana, 11269. Text, so it seems here like Lord Chaitanya is discussing the spiritual happiness, spiritual pleasure, which is differentiated from material pleasure. Text 157. The potency called Ladini gives Krishna transcendental pleasure. Through this pleasure potency, Krishna personally tastes all spiritual pleasure. Text 158. Lord Krishna tastes all kinds of transcendental happiness, although he himself is happiness personified. The pleasure relished by his pure devotee is also manifest by his pleasure potency. So we're talking about spiritual happiness as opposed to material happiness. It's stated in Nectar of Devotion, the characteristics of pure devotional service. I think it's the first chapter. I don't know if I can remember all of them, but there's, I think, 6 characteristics. Pure devotional service immediately puts one in transcendental pleasure. It relieves one from all material distress and anxiety, relieves one from hunger and thirst. It's the beginning of all auspiciousness. And, it surpasses even liberation. It's a higher pleasure than liberation. And Krishna comes under the control of his devotee who is absorbed in pure devotional service. So that's the characteristics of pure devotional service. Basically, there's three types of pleasure. There's material happiness, there's spiritual happiness of realizing one is not the material body, and then there's complete spiritual happiness, which comes from devotional service or relationship with Krishna, Krishna prema, and that is the highest happiness. So as it explained in the earlier verse, in the material world, sometimes there's happiness, sometimes there's pain, and then sometimes there's pleasure mixed with pain. But spiritual happiness doesn't have those attributes. So this is text 159. The most essential part of this pleasure potency is love of Godhead, prema. Consequently, the explanation of love of Godhead is also a transcendental mellow full of pleasure. The essential, text 160, the essential part of love of Godhead is called Mahabhav, transcendental ecstasy, and that ecstasy is represented by Srimati Radharani. So that's another level of prema. We can experience prema, and then prema has different levels, and then the highest level is Mahabhava, experienced by Srimati Radharani. Text 161. Among the gopis of Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani and another gopi are considered chief. However, when we compare the gopis, it appears that Srimati Radharani is most important because her real feature expresses the highest ecstasy of love. The ecstasy of love experienced by the other gopis cannot be compared to that of Srimati Radharani. So these are very confidential, this is very confidential knowledge, not easily revealed even after studying all the Vedas, but it's being given to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's stated that Lord Chaitanya came in this age of Kali to give us the highest realization of pure devotional service, up to the point of conjugal love, the highest mellow in devotional service. There's 5 different rasas in devotional service. In the Nectar Devotion, Rupa Goswami explains what this word rasa means. And Prabhupada translates it as mellow. Like in our material relationships, like say husband and wife, there's a certain taste that you get from that relationship. Or it can be between friends, or master and servant, so there's a taste in that relationship, so that's called rasa. And the taste that you have with Krishna, that's transcendental rasa. And there's five different rasas. So this is, we're getting here the highest rasa, the rasa, madhurya rasa, conjugal love. And that highest expression is in Srimati Radharani. Text 162. The body of Srimati Radharani is the veritable transformation of love of Godhead. She is the dearmost friend of Krishna, and this is known throughout the world. So then here's a verse from Brahma Samhita. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and who embodies the ecstatic potency, Ladini. Their companions are her confidants, who embody extensions of her bodily form and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual rasa. Text 164. That supreme ecstasy of Srimati Radharani is the essence of spiritual life. Her only business is to fulfill all the desires of Krishna. Text 165. Srimati Radharani is the topmost spiritual gem, and the other gopis, Lalita, Vishaka, and so on, are expansions of her spiritual body. Text 166. Srimati Radharani's transcendental body is brilliant in luster and full of all transcendental flavors. Lord Krishna's affection for her is like a perfumed massage. Wow. Purport. Sugandhi Uvartana refers to a paste made of several perfumes and flavored oils. This paste is massaged all over the body, and in this way the body's dirt and perspiration are removed. Srimati Radharani's body is automatically perfumed, but when her body is massaged with this scented paste of Lord Krishna's affection, her entire body is doubly perfumed and made brilliant and lustrous. This is the beginning of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's description of Srimati Radharani's transcendental body. This description is based on the book known as Premam Bhoja Maranda, compiled by Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. Srila Kaviraj Goswami's descriptions in verse 165 through 181 are based on this book. A translation of the original Sanskrit as described by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur reads as follows. So this is really very superior confidential knowledge we're getting about the highest activities and personalities in the spiritual realm. We're so fortunate to get this knowledge. Very, very confidential. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we're getting this knowledge. Otherwise, it's really not possible to have this confidential knowledge. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, "First surrender unto me and I'll give you all protection." But in Lord Chaitanya's case, he's not asking us to surrender. He's just giving us this knowledge, this highest knowledge, and asking us, just take it. It's yours. Here it is. And yesterday morning, we had a wonderful festival honoring the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, Shri Gaur Purnima. And one of the first things I heard in the morning, Sri Nrsimha Rupa Prabhu, he was quoting from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it said, the quote was something like, Lord Chaitanya did not see who was fit or unfit to receive this knowledge. He just gives it out freely to everyone. So, I don't know, that kind of set the mood, for me at least, for the whole festival, how merciful Lord Chaitanya is that he's just giving this knowledge freely to anyone and everyone. And I was thinking, I was kind of joking, I said, I fit into the category of the unfit. And then another devotee said, well, whether you're fit or fat, you get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So, I mean, that kind of set the mood, and the whole day was kind of like that. Then we went out on Harinam on Greenville Avenue, and we were just giving out the mercy to everyone, chanting the holy names and distributing books, and just trying to give out the mercy of the holy names. And then again, in the evening, we went out on just around the block and giving out the holy names again. So, yeah, this is Lord Chaitanya's special mercy, giving us this most elevated knowledge to the most fallen people. I'll keep reading here. The love of the gopis for Krishna is full of transcendental ecstasy. It appears to be a brilliant jewel, and enlightened by such a jewel, Radharani's body is further perfumed and decorated with kumkum. In the morning, her body is bathed in the nectar of compassion. In the afternoon, in the nectar of youth, and in the evening, in the nectar of luster itself. In this way, the bathing is performed, and her body becomes as brilliant as the Chintamani jewel. Her dress is composed of various kinds of silken garments, which may be compared to her natural shyness. Her beauty is more and more enhanced, being decorated with kumkum, which is compared to beauty itself, and with blackish musk, which is compared to conjugal love. Thus her body is decorated with different colors. The kumkum is red and the musk is black. Her ornaments embody the natural symptoms of ecstasy: trembling, tears, jubilation, stunning, perspiration, faltering of the voice, bodily redness, madness, and dullness. In this way, the entire body is bedecked with these 9 different jewels. Over and above this, the beauty of her body is enhanced by her transcendental qualities, which hang as a flower garland on her body. What an amazing, amazing statement. The beauty of her body is enhanced by her transcendental qualities, which hang as a flower garland on her body. The ecstasy of love for Krishna is known as dhira and adhira, sober and restless. Such ecstasy constitutes the covering of Srimati Radharani's body, and it is adorned by camphor. Incredible. Camphor has such a beautiful smell. It's like all-pervading, purifying smell. Such a beautiful smell of camphor. Her transcendental anger towards Krishna is embodied as the arrangement of the hair on her head, and the tilak of her great fortune shines on her beautiful forehead. The earrings of Srimati Radharani are the holy names of Krishna, as well as the hearing of his name and fame. I'll have to remember that one. The earrings of Srimati Radharani are the holy names of Krishna, as well as the hearing of his name and fame. So every time we chant Hare Krishna, we can think of the earrings of Srimati Radharani. What a nice meditation. Her lips are always reddish due to the betel nut of ecstatic affection for Krishna. The black ointment around her eyes is her tricky behavior with Krishna, brought about by love. Her joking with Krishna and gentle smiling is the camphor with which she is perfumed. She sleeps in her room with the aroma of pride, and when she lies down in her bed, the transcendental variety of her ecstatic ecstasies is like a jeweled locket in the midst of her necklace of separation. I think that line deserves repeating. I think this whole purport deserves repeating and possibly memorizing. Wonderful meditation. I feel really fortunate to be reading this today. Let's see where I was reading. She sleeps in her room with the aroma of pride, and when she lies down in her bed, the transcendental variety of her loving ecstasies is like a jeweled locket in the midst of her necklace of separation. Her transcendental breasts are covered by her sari in the form of affection and anger towards Krishna. She has a stringed instrument known as Kachapi Veena, which is the fame and fortune that actually dries up the face and breasts of the other gopis. She always keeps her hands on the shoulder of her gopi friend, who is compared to her youthful beauty, and although she is highly qualified with so many spiritual assets, she is nonetheless affected by the Cupid known as Krishna. Thus she is defeated. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami offers his respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani, taking a straw in his mouth. Indeed, he prays, O Gandharvika Srimati Radharani, just as Lord Krishna never rejects a surrendered soul, please don't reject me. This is a summary translation of the Premam Bhoja Maranda, which Kaviraj Goswami quotes. So that was text 166, definitely a text to remember. Text 167. Srimati Radharani takes her first bath in the shower of the nectar of compassion, and she takes her second bath in the nectar of youth. Purport. Srimati Radharani first smears her body with the paste of affection for Krishna. She then takes her bath in the water of mercy. After passing the Poganda age from 5 to 10 years, Srimati Radharani first appears as mercy. The second bath, taken at noon, is taken in the water of Tarunyamrita, or the nectar of youth. This is the actual expression of her new youthfulness. Text 168. After her midday bath, Radharani takes another bath in the nectar of bodily luster, and she puts on the garment of shyness, which is exactly like a black silk sari. Text 168. After the midday bath, Radharani takes another bath. Oh, I think I read that. Anyway, I'll read it again. After a midday bath, Radharani takes another bath in the nectar of bodily luster, and she puts on the garment of shyness, which is exactly like a black silk sari. Purport. Over and above the other baths, the bath taken in the afternoon is taken in the nectar of full beauty. This nectar represents the personal qualities of beauty and luster. Thus, there are 3 baths in different kinds of water. Radharani then puts on 2 dresses, a lower and upper dress. The upper dress is her attachment for Krishna, and the lower dress is her shyness. That lower portion is compared to a blackish silk garment or a bluish sari, and her upper garment is pinkish. That pink garment is her affection and attraction for Krishna. Text 169. Srimati Radharani's affection for Krishna is the upper garment, which is pinkish in color. She then covers her breasts with another garment, comprised of her affection and anger towards Krishna. Text 170. I'll just keep reading, there's so much nectar. Srimati Radharani's personal beauty is compared to the reddish powder known as kumkum. Her affection for her associates is compared to sandalwood pulp, and the sweetness of her smile is compared to camphor. All these combined together are smeared over her body. Text 171. Conjugal love for Krishna is just like an abundance of musk. By that musk, her whole body is decorated. So her whole body is decorated with conjugal love for Krishna. Text 172. Covered anger and craftiness constitute the arrangement of her body, of her hair. Covered anger and craftiness constitute the arrangement of her hair. The quality of anger due to jealousy is just like the silk covering her body. 173. Her attachment for Krishna is the reddish color of betel nuts on her brilliant lips. Her double dealings in loving affairs are just like the black ointment around her eyes. Text 174. The decorated ornaments on her body are the blazing ecstasies of goodness, and these constantly existing ecstasies are headed by jubilation. All these ecstasies are like ornaments all over her body. Text 175. These bodily ornaments constitute 20 kinds of ecstatic symptoms, beginning with Kila Kanchita. Her transcendental qualities are the flower garland hanging in fullness over her body. Purport. The 20 different moods headed by Kila Kanchita are described as follows. First, in connection with the body, there are bhava, ecstasy, hava, gestures, and hela, intelligence. In relation to the self, there are shobha, beauty, kanti, luster, dipti, brilliance, madhurya, sweetness, pragalpata, impudence, audarya, magnanimity, and dharya, patience. And in relation to nature, there are lila, pastimes, vilas, enjoyment, vichiti, breaking off, and vibrama, puzzlement. There are no English equivalents for the words kili kinchita, motayita, and kutamita. These sentiments are so elevated, you can't even translate them into English. They're so beyond. Jai, Shri Radhakala Chanji Ki Jai. They're so beyond this material world, you have no way of even describing them. A flower garland constitutes the qualities of Srimati Radharani and is divided into mental, verbal, and bodily parts. Her attitude of forgiveness and mercy is all mental. Her talks, which are very pleasing to the ear, are verbal. The physical qualities, age, beauty, luster, and grace, are bodily qualities. Read one more verse. Text 176. The tilak of fortune is on her beautiful broad forehead. Her various loving affairs are a gem, and her heart is the locket. So these are some just amazing descriptions of Srimati Radharani, her qualities, and her love for Krishna. So how can we experience all this ourselves? How can we come to the level where we can actually understand these elevated qualities of Srimati Radharani and her love for Krishna? And that is why Lord Chaitanya has come. He's come as a devotee to experience all these elevated sentiments himself and to teach us how we can experience them ourselves. So that is by the chanting of the holy names. We can realize all these elevated topics just by chanting the holy names, and especially by chanting the holy names congregationally. We can actually come to the highest spiritual understanding of all these elevated topics. And by distributing this knowledge to other people, that's how we can come to understand it ourselves. That was Lord Chaitanya's mission, to distribute this knowledge to everyone, anyone and everyone. So by distributing that knowledge through chanting the holy names, through distributing Prabhupada's books, we can imbibe that knowledge ourselves. That's how we can get that, all this knowledge, actually practically realize that knowledge. So Prabhupada followed the mission of Lord Chaitanya. He took up that mission, preaching all over the world, and he published his books, and he inspired us to distribute those books. So now we have that mission of distributing Krishna consciousness to every town and village, to everywhere. There's a story, I don't know if any of you read it, it was on WhatsApp, about one book distributor that lives in Vrindavan. And she had distributed books her whole life. And she, even in Vrindavan, she was distributing books. So one day she went to Radhakund, and she met a Babaji there who really inspired her. So the Babaji said, "Oh, I'll give you a mantra. And by chanting this mantra, you'll get Radharani's mercy." So she followed this Babaji. She started chanting that mantra. And she was going to Radhakund every day, and she stopped distributing books. So one night she had a dream with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada took her right to the heart of Radhakund, right inside Radhakund, and right inside, deep inside Radhakund, right to the heart of Radhakund. And there Prabhupada had millions of books, and he was distributing millions of books to many fallen souls. And the fallen souls were all suffering, but as soon as they got the book, they took the book and they went back to Godhead. So she saw this dream, and then in the dream, Prabhupada turned to her and said, "What are you waiting for? Why aren't you still distributing my books? This will take you right to the heart of Radhakund." As we know, it's stated that Radhakund is non-different from Srimati Radharani, because Radhakund is as dear to Krishna as Srimati Radharani herself, because it is composed of all her transcendental ecstasies. So she realized that if you want Radharani's mercy, you just have to distribute Prabhupada's books. We just have to distribute Krishna consciousness. We don't really need anything else. And just by distributing this knowledge to others, chanting the holy names, and distributing Prabhupada's books, we will get this highest realization. All these realizations of Radharani's qualities and Krishna's pastimes that will all come to us just by following this process. So this process is on 2 tracks, as explained by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. There's 2 tracks. There's chanting the holy names, and there's Krishna Katha. So we have to do both. We have to chant the holy names and then also hear about Krishna. So by following that process, we'll come to realize all this wonderful confidential knowledge. So Prabhupada's given us a mission, following in his footsteps, to distribute this knowledge. Take this knowledge and distribute it everywhere. So this I feel really inspired by the festival we had yesterday to continue doing that, continue following in Prabhupada's mission, and distribute this knowledge everywhere. And this will make us happy also. This will give us the highest happiness, because we're all suffering. Material world is just sometimes it's pleasure, but it's usually pleasure mixed with pain, and a lot more on the pain side. But if we think of the welfare of others, then our happiness will be assured. So I think I'll stop there. Thank you very much for listening. And anyone have any comments or questions you'd like to add? Yes. It's hard for me to hear. I guess I wish we had that other microphone. Well, that's just what it is. It's just like a metaphorical description that Radharani's always carrying the holy name close to her, very close to her. The holy name, and what was the other one? Hearing and chanting about Krishna. She's keeping that very close to her, Not far away at all. It's right by our face. So that's very close. I mean, she's always hearing something about Krishna. It's right on her ear. So it doesn't have to be very far away, right? If something's on your ear, and if it makes a sound, you're tinkling of your earrings, you're going to hear it. So that's the only thing I could think of. It's very close to her. Yeah, we should keep it close to ourselves also. Krishna's holy name, and always hearing and chanting about Krishna. Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I feel so fortunate to having read this wonderful passages of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chapter, Madhya Lila chapter 8, it's like something like verse starts around 160 to 180 something. Something definitely to remember. Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.